See if everything starts working right. Okay, it is working. It's YouTube Studio that's not working. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna break this one out. Okay, it is working. It's YouTube Studio that's not working. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna break this one out. Okay, it is working. Alright, now that I know it's working, okay, now I need to minimize this back to right there. Actually, alright. Hi there. This is Tech. Hi there. This is Tech Explorer, and today we're going to be talking about AI data centers. So, for starters, what are AI data centers? So, AI data centers are buildings that house all the hardware necessary to make AI capable of doing all the feats that they're capable of doing, like answering your countless inquiries on your phone to today they're programming and creating games. So uh, they're also creating images and they're doing a lot of different things. But in a nutshell, AI data centers are the brain of of the AI. So now that we have a little bit better understanding as to what AI data centers are, let's look at some pros and cons to weigh out our options as to whether or not we want AI data centers. And yeah, let's try to decide if they're a bad thing or they might be a good thing. They definitely enable a lot of creativity. They like you can create a lot of different art or alter art and do a lot of good things. But they can also, like any tool, be used for bad bad things too, or inappropriate things. Right, I think right now the craze is put everyone in a bikini. So I mean, um, this was a conversation I've started with Grok earlier today, or earlier in the week, and now I prompted it for a breakdown of pros and cons of AI data centers, list them in a T table, so we can get a better visual as to what's happening and if it's a good thing, and we can kind of make up our mind. Or yeah, I'll let you make up your mind as you see the facts in front of you. So AI data centers, especially hyperscale facilities optimized for AI workloads, enable cutting-edge artificial intelligence but come with significant challenges, particularly around energy, environment, and local impacts. So basically, what that boils down to is it takes a lot of power, and um, it could also there's going to have to be a very stringent um, water cleaning process that it's going to have to go through, because the the water that gets pumped back into the ground is going to have to go through several filtration processes before it's going to be deemed clean or worthy water. I don't know the right phrasing that we want to use, but not dirty water, not polluted water. We don't want to put that back into the earth, that's for sure. So let's go through some of these pros and cons. Um, Massive computational power, training and running advanced AI models, scalability, flexibility to handle growing AI demands, drives innovation in AI, chip design, and application across the industries. So those first three, like the average consumer is not even gonna notice these things. I mean, you'll notice it that uh, it takes less time for your query or your prompt, um, but that's where that's gonna come into play. It's just like the time it takes. It's just gonna get less and less. Just like back in the day, we had dial-up internet, and it took forever to dial up on the internet. I mean, to get booted up on the internet. And now today, everything is boom, 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 boom. So it's very similar. Economic benefit, job creation, and construction tech. So yeah, jobs creations. It's going to create a lot of jobs, a lot of maintenance jobs. So once you have the data center and it's built, you're going to have a slew of engineers. You're going to have the HR teams to manage those people. Then you're going to have managers to manage the engineers. You're going to have actual hands-on technicians. You're going to have electricians. You're going to have control technicians and instrument technicians and all these different skilled crafts, welders, all the different skilled crafts necessary to run a facility and keep it running. So yeah, it's going to be a good thing for the economy. I mean, definitely not a bad thing. So high-speed networking and low latency for real-time AI processing, enhanced efficiency in operations, predictive maintenance, security. So yeah, like more secure, making everything more safe, so less likely to get hacked into. Let's look at some cons. Some cons are extremely high energy consumption can equal power of 100,000 plus homes per facility. So, wow, yeah, 100,000 plus homes, and they're probably being generous on the downside. So we're probably closer to 150,000 homes, more likely. Significant environmental impact, including large carbon footprint and strain on grids. So yeah, strain on the grid, that goes back to the extremely high energy consumption. It's kind of tying into the first thing that it was saying there. high water usage for cooling, risking local water shortages in drought areas. Okay, but also that water that they use is going to have to go through, like I said, go through that filtration process before it can be returned, if it even gets returned. Um, yeah, which that won't be a huge deal. I mean, everywhere is already doing that, and Elon's companies, I know from firsthand experience that Tesla goes above and beyond uh, the environmental codes. So, um, yeah, we want to build a bright future, and we don't want to destroy our ecosystems. Natural habitats, complexity, and high operational costs. Yeah, land uses and changes, land use changes, converting farmland, noise, and local disruption. That also ties back into the large carbon footprint, higher electricity costs for residents. Yeah, concentration of power and big tech, potential barriers for smaller players. This is a bigger concern for me. Like these monopolies that these dudes are having. I definitely think they need to be doing kickbacks. So like, what I mean by that is like they're getting our data and collecting it in aggregate and making billions and billions of dollars off of our data, and we should get a little. Everyone should be getting a check from all that data that they're collecting. Uh, Here's some charts. Global electricity growth. Yeah, data centers are expected to account for less than 10% of the growth in electricity demand between 2024 and 2030. Electricity growth. Okay, is that worldwide? Global. Yeah, 10% of the Earth's electricity will be AI data centers. China and the United States predicted to account for nearly 80% of the global growth in electricity consumption. Yep, it's an AI race. This is the AI race of the 2020s. Yeah, it's it's exciting. Who's gonna build the first super intelligence? China or us? It does look like, or it feels like, at the very least, that we're ahead. Um, yeah, as far as LLMs go, it feels like we have more, and well, we don't know what China. We don't really know what China has because they're behind closed doors. But anyway, so now we've talked about AI data centers. We've talked about some pros and cons. Let's talk about some future applications for AI data centers and what the future could look like for AI data centers. Elon had made some comments not too long ago. I think it was like a week or so ago, maybe a couple days ago. I don't know. Basically saying that um, AI data centers would be rem- in space via satellites, which would solve for the footprint problem, the energy problem, and the consumption of water problem. So basically, 75-80% of the issues for the cons, making it almost a complete net positive. But I mean, I'll let you draw your own conclusions, but that's my opinion. I think it would be a net positive. Once AI data centers are in satellites, it's like a no-brainer. They're a lot easier to maintain. They're zero maintenance because they're in space. But let's see what Grok has to say. So I already prompted this earlier. What having data centers built on satellites, alluded to by Elon a few days ago, help the energy slash resource consumption problem? What would be the pros and cons then? Recent reports from December 2025 indicate that Elon Musk has alluded to the concept of building data centers in space, specifically mentioning that scaling of Starlink V3 satellites could enable orbital data processing and storage. He stated that SpaceX plans to implement this to address the growing demands of AI computing, which are straining Earth's infrastructure. With no direct X posts from the last few days, early January 2026, were found confirming a brand new statement. This aligns with ongoing discussion Musk has fueled. So they already have a satellite and plan. The Starlink V3 is going to be capable of doing these things already. And yeah, so Starlink V3 is going to be capable of doing these things already. Um, the thing is, Starlink V3 is so heavy that it's going to require Starship, which is still in the testing processes. So they're still shooting that one up and blowing it up and collecting data on it. I think they've had about, I don't need to guess, let's see. Well, I'll ask it in a second. I'm getting off track. Um, I think they've had about 5 launches with the Starship, and yeah, but they're going to need Starship to be fully operational in order to start hauling these satellites because they're so big. They're going to, yeah, they're going to need a much bigger vessel than the Falcon 9 rocket. Would it be helpful? Would it help the energy resource consumption problem? Yes, orbital data centers could potentially mitigate some of Earth's energy and resource challenges posed by traditional AI data centers. By relocating compute to space, they could leverage constant solar power unobstructed by atmosphere or night cycles. The passive cooling from the vacuum environment, reducing reliance on terrestrial electricity grids, water or cooling, and land resources. This might lower overall carbon footprints and alleviate local strains like power outages and water shortages. So, however, the upfront costs, rocket launches consuming massive fuel, and ongoing challenges, data transmission mean benefits would only materialize at scale, and short term resource use could increase. It's a long term solution, not an immediate fix, and feasibly depends on advancements in reusable rocketry and satellite tech. Like I said, it's the reusable rocketry comes into play with Starship. But check this out. Wouldn't that be a constellation of these bad boys? And we would be set. Pros and cons. Abundant, efficient, abundant, efficient solar power, constant exposure, no weather, night interruption reduces Earth's electricity demands. Passive natural cooling in space, frigid vacuum minimizes water and energy use. No need for Earth based on land zoning or real estate, freeing up resources, scalable deployment without terrestrial limits, lower overall carbon footprint, potential for high speed inter-satellite links. And then some cons, extremely high upfront costs, difficult maintenance slash repairs in orbit, failure hard to fix without costly missions, latency delays in data transmission to slash from Earth. So, I mean, it's really comes down to like, do you think humanity has a future in space? Is that the next frontier? Or do you think it's just a fool's errand? Because if you're like Elon and you think that um, you do think that space is the next frontier, then of course this makes perfect sense. And basically, he's been forward thinking like that, just the same way he laid the groundwork for Tesla by over 20 years ago, starting, what was it, 20 years ago? I think it was, no, it was in 2012. He announced and started building the infrastructure for the supercharging network. And now it's the gold standard for electric vehicle charging. So he has a way of seeing what needs to happen and implementing and doing those actions. So yeah, this is just the next step. And yeah, the upfront cost is going to be high, but um, once you get to scale, it's not going to matter, and it's just a matter of getting the scale. Easier said than done. Technical risks, harsh space environment, logistical challenges. Logistical just means traveling there, getting there, development and operations, reliance on solar. Visualizations of Google's conceptual projects, Sun Snatcher, an example of space-based AI data centers similar to Musk's vision. In summary, while Space Center, yeah. So this is what I was saying earlier, and this is what I'm about to prompt into it. Um, a problem with the Starlink 3 is the size. So yeah, basically exactly like I was saying, Starlink V3 requires Starship. Previously, generations V1, the Mini could film the Falcon 9, which is what they've been using for several hundred missions now. Um, they're launching them almost daily, and they're coming back and being reused. But this is just a rocket. Um, oh, excuse me. The difference with Starship is it's a booster, and it's a booster plus uh, a vessel on top. So it's like a shuttle plus the booster, both independently. Once the booster gets it up high enough, it'll detach and come back down, and it'll self land and be completely reusable. So the booster is completely reusable, but so is the starship itself, the vessel itself. Uh, both come back, both get caught in the Mechazilla arms. They've already proven this in video. Let's check some of that out.
there it is. Where?
Let's try that again.
Once again, we're going to ignite first the Center 13 engines. We should see that coming up here momentarily.
Engines in startup.
This is going to come down to 3 engines as the booster slows down for its landing. And we just heard the sonic boom. What an incredible sight to see the super heavy booster gliding down into the chopstick arms once again.
Now, maybe I'm mistaken.
This is not an accident. It's a test. Why would SpaceX land Starship in the ocean?
Either way, they're both gonna have to be reusable completely. Like, just like you would an airplane, you fly somewhere, it makes it to the airport, you fill it up, and then people board on, and then it flies to the next destination. And you don't throw the airplane away after it makes it to a destination. If you did that, plane tickets would be insanely expensive. So, yeah, figuring out reusable rocketry and having a 100% reusable rocket is going to be a huge breakthrough. And supposedly they think they can do it with V3 Starship, but we will see. They've been known, Elon's teams have been known to make the impossible late. So we'll see. That's it for now. Love you guys. Peace.